Hey y'all, it's your girl Ashley Camille here at Fifth House Bloom, and I am here to deliver the message for Virgo season. This is your first time to the space. Welcome. If you are returning, I appreciate you, but thank you all for being here. Now, this is the message for the Virgo season. You do not have to be a Virgo placement for this to apply, it is collective. If you would like more personalized messages, I do offer by readings by sign and modality in the Bloom tier on my page Substack. So go ahead and sign up for that if you are interested. And let's go ahead and get into it. Ignore all this stuff on my face, y'all. All right, at this time, I'd like to welcome forth the power and the presence of the elevated guides and assist me in delivering this message for the Fifth House Bloom Collective. I ask that you open up our ears so that we hear the truth of liberation. I ask that you open up our minds so that we may bloom. I ask that you open up our hearts so that we may embrace our divinity. I ask for assistance in delivering this message with clarity, empathy, and ease I give. Okay. So a car flew out as I was shuffling, and it is grounding. And so what's interesting already is that this, if you could see like the placement, it reminds me of guts. It reminds me of like intestines. And Virgo is associated with digestion, right? And so there is something that we are needing. The way that this system works is essentially breaking down everything that you consume in order to take out the nutrients that you need, right? And that is so Virgo, right? Like processing, refining, pulling out what is necessary. Now, when the system is out of order, what can happen is that either you aren't pulling out the nutrition that you need, or it's even almost over functioning, pulling too much, so concerned with the process of breaking down, so concerned with the process of digestion that it misses taking what is actually needed to nurture, taking what is actually need to sustain us, taking what is actually need for maintenance and continued support and our continued growth. And so with this, it's a reminder that especially during this time, not to be so caught up in the process of digesting, not to be so caught up in the process of refining and making sure that the systems are operating properly so that you have time to absorb what you need. Now, we didn't already jumped into it, but prior to starting this recording, I was shuffling my decks and this card was at the bottom, right? And so I just did a little shuffle again, and then this card was at the bottom. So I'm like, okay, this is our card, right? There is this energy of urgency. There is this energy of feeling potentially like time is running out, and it's showing up in two ways, right? For some, it's time to take action. The system is working properly, right? You're getting out what you need, but it isn't being applied in a way that is conducive to your goals, that is conducive to your growth, that is conducive to your joy, right? So you have the support. And especially during this season, you have the support of the unseen. You have the support of your ancestors. And so it is right now that some of us are actually in our timing. Everything is aligning. We have the support that we need. We have the structures that we need. And there is just a fear, a hesitancy, some sort of internal block that is where we look, ain't something else. This is a thing of like stopping yourself from taking the step forward. And maybe it is fear from putting yourself out there. Maybe it is fear for being seen in a new way or taking on new responsibility, however this might be applying to you. But the timing is right, right? The timing is now. It might not be something that you've done before, but it is supported and you are prepared. You have everything that you need in order to move forward. but it is on you to take that step and to bring it to reality. Now, the other way this is coming up is some people operating, for some of us, it's operating in urgency, right? Moving so fast that you aren't allowing the things that you need in order to support you to to be put in place, right? Jumping ahead, skipping some steps, right? In a way that will impact the larger goal that you have. Give me a second. I'm gonna take my time. And not only because it's not just like a skipping thing, right? Um, or trying to take shortcuts, but for some, it's feeling like a bypassing in a way, which is a little different than like skipping, right? It's engaging with something without the appropriate level of vulnerability, without the appropriate level of openness. Okay, so let me give an example. If this were in a romantic relationship and there's a desire to be partnered, or there's a desire to have a companion, whatever relationship style you're seeking, right? There is but for fear of getting hurt, creating walls, right? Or engaging in more of an exchange, or not intentionally not investing any sort of maybe time, effort, energy, whatever into this dynamic for fear that it won't turn out appropriately. That ain't the damn word. That it won't turn out well, right? It's like a guarding from getting yourself hurt. And essentially, it's kind of like instead of acknowledging the fear and instead of going into it with an open heart and taking the risk, we will acknowledge that it is a risk, and being vulnerable, it's trying to create connection and commitment without this piece of vulnerability, open heartedness, love that is required in order to create something that is a healthy version, reciprocal, the highest version available of what you want. So I hope that was clear. Give me a second. There's also a message here about using your intuition as a valid form of data, allowing what comes to you through perception of the unseen to be a tool that guides you forward in taking action and making decisions. Okay? This is giving gut feeling, right? Not only, I'll come back to that. Expanding your perception even outside of just like your body, right? So the imagery that's coming up is this is kind of like mushrooms and mycelium, and that they communicate through a network underground that is connected. And so for some, especially if we're talking about grounding, it's allowing yourself and your connection to your body, allowing your connection to nature to offer you additional support as you are moving through this season. There's more information and access there than you've been allowing to come through. And so for some, it might just be that the strengthening of this intuition comes from connecting to nature, right? Not forcing it, just creating the space for it. Okay. What do we want to know? I want to get into the cards. Cycles. So it's taking me back to a piece about timing. I don't know if I even mentioned timing at all, honestly, right? Because what was coming through is lessons from nature. And so nature operates on cycles, right? Not only cycles of growth, but cycles of death, cycles of the way that sounded, death. Well, it paused me good, okay, but because I was about to skip to rest, but decomposition is in there, right? And again, we're talking about Virgo and breaking down. So there might be some things that need to be broken down, that need to come apart, that need to come undone, and the experiences of those will allow it to nourish what is new. For some, it is coming through as a more material and a practical thing, as a return on investment, right? So that might look like selling your what you call them things? Holdings or stocks. That might mean um cashing in on something that you've done, like some kind of return, whatever, like, and now that it's breaking down, ending, you are getting the payout for you to take that and to create and to invest in something else. Should I read ground? That's a close. What about restlessness? Do I need to read restlessness? All right, let's get a little bit more guidance through the tarot. Okay. For those who might be beginning something, wanting to initiate, starting, a new opportunity has presented itself. We have the Four of Cups, Fool, King of Cups. I'm gonna go ahead and get all these categories real quick because I'll forget. All right, for those who might be feeling a little bit stagnant, like they're not sure what direction to take, um, where their energy and effort should be going. We have the Three of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. Is this correct? Are they together or that feels right? Okay, there's another one for this position too. Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, and then the Two of Swords underneath. All right. And then for those, something is coming to an end. Making the decision to end, making the decision to transition. Cups in reverse, Swords, King of Pentacles. It flew right to the spot, too. Seven of Cups. And then we have the Hermit at the bottom of the deck, the Virgo card, right? To do this whole energy, right? Our overall energy. Now, for all of us, now I know I've broken these cards down in the energy of beginning, neutral or stagnation, or deciding next steps and endings, right? But for all of us, there is some sort of new that is being ushered in. That new might be coming from uh, starting something new. That new may be coming from being in a period of stillness and pause. That new might be coming from an ending. But this is huge energy of initiation and starting for us, especially during this. We're moving into eclipse season, right? And we'll have a new moon that's ushering us into Virgo season, and it is occurring at 0 degrees, right? The very first degree of the sign. There'll be another new moon in September, right? Two new moons, and it will be occurring at 29 degrees of Virgo, the very last degree, and it is an eclipse, right? And so, right now, this is a time of gathering information that will inform what we need, particularly our systems, particularly our structures, and the way that we are navigating the support for what it is that is being new into our lives, right? So there will be a lot of clarity coming into view of what steps and what actions that we need to take in order to support what we are building. Okay, let's get into it. I'm gonna flip y'all over because switch these cards over so we can focus on what we focus on. Give me a second. I'm gonna take my time. So I'm gonna show you. Okay, I'm getting called to pull another card from Ancestral Healing deck. Pull it all together, but I think I got it. This is about a level of fulfillment. The world. So, as you are creating new, part of the challenge is making sure that you're doing it from a place of your core, your essence, your spirit, who you are now in this moment. Have you done the necessary work of unraveling, unlearning, detachment from what you have been taught to desire? Is this a true reflection of you, or is it seeking recognition in some sort of way for a past version or some other sort of external validation that simply doesn't apply? What's challenging here is that whatever this is the conflict, right? You can create something that will be successful in traditional terms that way, right? You can get the relationship, you can get the job, you can start this business, you can have the house that, like, this dream house that everybody wants, whatever, right? You can succeed according to what society has prescribed as desirable, or your mama told you was, or your friends say you should, or whatever they doing now on the TikTok or Instagram, whatever it might be. But is that truly what you want? And so there is a challenge here in making sure that you are staying connected to the truth of your desires and the truth of you, and not allowing yourself to create from from the ego. That is going to require some exploration, that is going to require some messiness, that is going to require some play, that's going to require some hurt, that's going to require some mistakes. But you simply have to get out there and give yourself the chance to answer, is this really what I want? Again, I want you to be aware and to be careful of the perceptions of others, especially like this restlessness energy is coming up a lot for you all in this group, right? Being overly concerned with how you appear, being overly concerned about metrics or things that will not truly bring you fulfillment. Again, the challenge here is that you can do it. You can meet these external goals, but they are not connected to your fulfillment. I'm trying to get more insight into the actions, steps that you can take in order to get more clarity on here, on this. Um, this is going to be very cliche, kind of returning to and giving yourself the opportunity to return to who you are, return before you learn what you should do. I just got off a call with Ayana from Cedar School, and I was sharing a story about my daughter who is very connected with, her spiritual gifts. Just think back to like, well, she hasn't been taught shame from that, not from her parents. She hasn't been taught to hide. And who will she be without that shame? Right. And so when Ayana was advising me, she was saying that part of the work is just returning to who you were before you were taught shame. And so I see it here. And part of it is nurturing that and giving it space and taking care of that through, again, this messiness, through this mistakes, through this fuck around and find out, right? And giving yourself the permission to do so. And as you are in that, sit in how it feels. Sit and then, okay, direct it back to grounding. Pay attention to how your body feels in the space. Pay attention to how your energy feels in the space before and after and during, right? Pay attention to, and I mean, okay, let me slow down. Do you feel excited before you get there? Does it continue when you're in it? Does it continue when you leave that you can't wait to get back to this person, place, or thing or project? Or do you feel drained? Do you feel a nervousness that's not anticipation? How are you feeling? Allow this information to come through and support you in identifying your desires. Pay attention to your external environment as well. What is going on? Get my ponytail moving. Are things falling away when you share with certain people? Do things fall through? Are you getting infections? What is going on? Listen to all the information that is being given to you. But do not cut yourself off from exploring a new way of knowing, or excuse me, the old way of knowing your desires, which is through your presence, your exploration, your creativity. Neutral. Give me a second. I'm going to take my time. Mm, here, um, loneliness, or it is feeling like loneliness, right? But I am trying to make it more general, disconnection in some sort of sense from a named desire. So while as the initiators are figuring out what those desires are, this group, it feels like we know what we want and we're not yet in the energy. And so there's a disappointment, there's a grief, there is a challenge in um not having what it is we know that we want, right? And acknowledge that. Some of the hardest things, or some of the hardest part about not having what we want is sometimes, again, this is that bypassing. Do not talk yourself out of it. Allow yourself to experience the full range of your desire. And that does not only include joy, that includes the grief from what is lacking, right? This is a guiding force. This is letting you know that you are headed in the right direction because you want that shit, right? Do not ignore this feeling, right? Allow it to be a guide for identifying when you are on the right track with your desires. And it is feeling like community, relationship, um, um, being witnessed, right? Just a sense of connection, just a sense of being known, just a sense of knowing. Oh. And also a releasing of an idealistic form of it because it appears that for some it is available, but it doesn't look exactly as you anticipated. It's showing up or can show up or can be created in a form that looks nothing like what you imagined, right? And there's work involved with this. It's not gonna knock at the door. Gotta go outside. There is, it also feels like who a responsibility or the role, if you so choose. We always have a choice of being the initiator of this to tie together. There are people out there looking for exactly the same thing, desiring the same thing, wanting the same thing, and the container needs to be created for it. And I don't even mean like as explicitly as like starting a club or something like that. It might just be the initiation of naming, I am trying, like with maybe a friend that you're trying to build like community with, right? We ain't gonna get into all that. But being the initiator in naming the intentions of, I am trying to build community with da 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 da. This is what I desire. And I'm looking to do that with you. There's somebody who's desiring the same thing. And honestly, in the perimeter, something in the perimeter around having the same kind of internal discussions, the same kind of grief, the same desires, and just have feeling some difficulty in how to create the container. So initiate and acknowledge the disappointment because it's like, damn, but I always do. And I did last time and it didn't work out. That's part of staying open hearted. It's still worth it. It's still worth it. Anything else? And I also want you to know that that applies to that's outside of just relationship and community as well, right? That could be a project, could be a job, could be a place, could be an action, could be a move, whatever it might be. Okay. Something coming to an end, something coming to an end. Give me a second. I'm going to take my time. Sorry, I'm messy. So, it's something that should be coming to an end, but it's a difficult decision for you to make, or it's hard for you to firmly stand in that because there's still something that you are reaping from it, right? That could be pleasure, that could be comfort, and just like not having to face the unknown. That could be some sort of financial stability, right? If we're keeping it real, for whatever reason, there's something that has you in a situation that isn't really aligned in whatever way. Joy, pleasure, growth, expansion, health, whatever it may be, right? But there is something you are reaping that is keeping you from making a uncomfortable decision, right? It feels like a distraction. It feels like a numbing. It feels like a bypassing. Um, or it feels um like intentionally not moving forward because not wanting to have to start over, do this work, take new steps, learn something new, whatever it may be, right? Again, I always say we are grown here. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. But there are more options that will be available to you if you decide to move on. Okay. Here's the other challenging piece about that. What you are moving on to is the start of. This is not, using a relationship example, leaving this relationship and jumping right in to exactly what you've been looking for, the best relationship of your life, right? It is jumping into creating the space for you to start to move towards that relationship, for that relationship to be able to be a part of your life, right? And so that is where the challenge really comes in, is that you are moving from comfort into discomfort. Again, similarly to that group of neutral or stagnation or not really knowing the direction, what's available is nice. It's nice if you so choose. Also have to be careful of, while if you do decide, or as you are trying to navigate making this decision and what you want to do, that you aren't bringing in distractions, or you aren't bringing in things that are potentially harmful, or are in order to kind of manage what is going on here. Again, this is about creating the space to get uncomfortable enough for you to be able to decide, to actively decide, even actively decide if this is where you are going to stay for this moment in time. And if you do, the work is to be building up for you to be able to leave on terms that you feel comfortable with, right? But you have to give yourself the space to make that decision without distractions. So it will not be made for you. So it will not put you in a situation where you are scrambling. And even if you do decide that, okay, I've sat in this discomfort, it's time to leave, there's still preparation that needs to be done. There's still preparation for being able to leave this situation. Anything else? Okay. I'm going to close by reading Grounding. This card is an invitation to ground yourself. Many of us spend a lot of time in the mental plane, and it's easy to forget to connect to the earth. We are electromagnetic beings, and the electromagnetic electromagnetic universe, and grounding both physically and energetically is one of the best things we can do for our well-being. If you can, have direct contact with the earth. Be barefoot on the grass, touch a tree, swim in a natural body of water. When we physically connect, oh my God, anti-inflammatory remedy there is. Connecting to your root chakra to the core of earth will be equally as valuable. I don't know if I read that clearly. Connecting your root chakra to the core of earth will be equally as valuable. Imagine this cord as an energetic drain pipe, releasing any negative or stagnant energy into the earth to be transmuted and feel restored. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Air, which is the Four of Swords in traditional tarot. So creating these cycles of rest, of restoration, and really being able to connect with our body and to support and create the systems that allow us to use that as internal navigation, external navigation, and to be grounded. All right, I return this energy to you.